Hey, that probably take him.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I got back with another video. This is inverse of log functions. Let's get started. So, first right here it says because logarithms are inverses of exponents, the inverse of an exponential function such as y equals 2x is a logarithm. Let me type that in. Oh, that's big. Here we go. Is a logarithm alright, such as y equals log 2 of x. Now, the domain of y equals 2x is all real numbers, and the range is y is greater than 0. Alright, well, the domain of the log base 2 of x is y is greater than 0. Alright, notice the flip, x, the domain, the x flips, and then the range is now all real numbers, okay? Alright, so everything just swaps. The inverse just swaps. The domain and range just swaps, okay? Okay, so now find the inverse of a function review. Alright, so remember step 1, man, we did this earlier in the semester, but what you do is you swap x and y. Alright, so you swap x and y. Alright, here's y, you know f of x is y, so you have y equals 3x minus 7. Well, if you swap them and then you solve for y, you'll have the inverse. So you swap x and y, then solve for y. Doing so, right here, you would divide by 3 on both sides, which is what happened right here. Divide by 3, it cancels, so it's x over 3 equals y minus 7, and then add 7 over right here, plus 7 on both sides. And then you have x over 3 plus 7 equals y, and that is your inverse, okay? So you can say it like this or like this, 1/3 x, or x over 3. So the same rule applies for logs, all right? And here's what I mean. Right here, you have this log. First of all, what we're going to do for finding the inverse, we're going to write this like this, y equals log base 4 of 3x. Now, first, you need to rewrite it. Step 1, rewrite it as a exponent. So you have 4 to the y, 4 to the y equals 3x. All right. Now, step 2, swap x and y. All right. That brings us up here. Swap x and y. So doing so, you will have 4 to the x equals 3y, and then just solve for y. All right, step 3, solve for y. So I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. So I end up with 4 to the x divided by 3 equals y. That's our inverse right there. All right, and so remember where this right here, the domain is all real, and the range is y is greater than 0. Well, right here on this one, the domain is now x is greater than 0, and the range is all real numbers, all right? They swap as well, okay? Now let's have a look at number 2. Number 2, all right, again, let's go ahead and write it as y equals, all right? Now remember the base, guys. When there's no base, written is 10, okay? Now, I'm going to rewrite it in exponential form, so that's 10 to the y equals 3x minus 5. Well, again, we need to first swap x and y. So that's 10 to the x equals 3y minus 5. And now we just solve for y. So I'm going to add 5 on both sides. So that's 10 to the x plus 5 equals 3y. And then we're going to divide out 3. So that gives us 10 to the x plus 5 divided by 3 equals the inverse. All right. And that little right there, that just means inverse. All right. That means inverse. So that's our inverse. Again, where the domain up here was all real and the range equals y is greater than 0, they swap. So the domain of this inverse would be x is greater than 0. Notice the variable change as well, right? Domain is x anyway, and the range is going to be all real, okay? All right, so these are the same. Yeah, I'm gonna actually stop there. Nah, let's go ahead and solve it. Let's solve it. So for this one, first off, I want you to understand that that's the log. All right, that's the log. That is not a part of this log. So you know you have y equals log base 1/2 2x minus 5 plus 6. Well, that's the log, that portion right there. That's not a part of the log. So I'm gonna actually move that back over here. All right, so what I have is y minus 6 equals log base 1/2 of 2x minus 5. I had to isolate that log. Now when I rewrite it, all right, I end up with 1/2 raised to the y minus 6, that's the actual exponent, equals 2x minus 5. And now I go into the steps for solving for a logarithm where I swap x and y. Alright, and then we solve from there. So I'm going to subtract 5 over, or add 5 over actually. So we have 1/2 x minus 6 minus 5 equals 2y. And then we just divide everything by 2 like that. Right. Divide the 5 by 2 as well. Excuse me. Oh, that should be a plus, by the way, because we added 5 over. So that would be plus 5 on both sides. So plus 5. All right, anyway, that simplifies to give us 1/4. Well, actually, nope, that doesn't simplify. So I'm going to leave everything over 2, actually. So our final answer would be 1/2 x minus 6 plus 5, all divided by 2 equals y, or our inverse. All right, so that's our inverse for that one. All right, moving on. Let me clear out some space because I need it for the next problem. All right, for this one, we have y equals 4x plus 6. We'll just swap x and y. So you have x equals 4y plus 6. All right, solving this one, we would subtract the 6. So you have x minus 6 equals 4y, 4 to the y. And then you can't really solve this from here, so we're going to write it as a log. So what you do is you end up with log base 4 of x minus 6 equals y. All right, there's the inverse right there. All right, for this one, again, swap x and y. So x equals 2 times 6 to the y minus 3. Oops, went to the wrong spot. So right here, I would first, swap x and y. So I would add 3. So x plus 3 equals 2 times 6 to the y. Then divide by 2 on both sides. So you have x plus 3 divided by 2 equals 6 to the y. And then we would just need to write this as a log. So you have log base 6 of x plus 3 divided by 2 equals y. And that's our inverse for number 5. And lastly, we're here. Let me put that right there. I did that fast. So there you go. Now, lastly, for this last problem, we need to, again, swap x and y. So x equals 5y minus 2. All right, notice that this is the exponent. So when I rewrite it, I have log base 5 of x equals y minus 2. But we want to isolate the y. So what you get is log base 5 of x minus 2, plus 2 equals y. That's your inverse, okay? And that really concludes this video, man. I think it's simple, straight to the point, and it's a really short video too, like 11 minutes tops. So, hey, I hope this helps, and I will catch you later.